CFG Game Cast, episode number 252, a weekly podcast created by gamers and streamers that like to discuss the latest gaming topics from the previous week. We stream a new episode every week and release it on all podcast services, so do us a favor and show us some love by liking, following, subscribing, and watching the live stream on our twitch.tv/CFG Games or on YouTube at the CFG, or go to our main website, confreaksgeeks.com, to not miss an episode. I am Mr. CFG Games himself, Davis Green, and with me today is the man who knows how to save time and gamble at the same time. I'm talking about the 5-star general of the itty bitty Smitty committee. I got Smitty in the third seat. What's going on, my dude?
Chilling, man. Like you said, like you alluded to before we started, it is a busy week in video games. It's been busy at work as well, but we got some things shaking and moving and brewing up in there. Still grinding. Got a couple streams in. See, I'm back. We're at least streaming twice a week again. Got some Warriors Abyss in one day, and then of course Marvel Rivals. We got up to at least plat. So that was nice. Again, thank you for Fishy. So it was nice to be able to play with Fishy Floor. Again, I hadn't played with her since Overwatch 2, so that was a ton of fun. Overall, it was solid, though. Got to that final boss in Warriors Abyss. Finally, I lost, but we're close to beating that game. So I've got something cooking in terms of, review and stuff like that on the game. I'm loving it. It is a ton of fun to play. So if you like roguelites and things of that nature, or if you like the Dynasty Warriors franchise, you are going to enjoy Warriors Abyss. And for that $25 price tag, you definitely get your money's worth. So overall, it has been a solid week, my friend. What about you, brother?
Yeah, man, it's such a random game that they released at such a low price, which is amazing.
I didn't know nobody saw it coming.
Yeah, it's a crazy shadow. It was a shadow that shadow drop literally came out of nowhere. No one was expecting it to come out, especially like a month after Dynasty Warriors success, Dynasty Warriors Origin success. So that's amazing. And it's like night and day difference. I'm glad you're actually enjoying it, and it's for $25. This week's been pretty challenging, I will say, because it's been annoying. But as you can see, the overlays are kind of not the same how it normally is because that I am not running the stream this time. It's kind of weird. And we actually use the backup overlays right now. So but yeah, it's good. It's been going it's as good as it can be, I guess. Let's just say that. So my computer went kaput right now. Apparently it's a bad CPU, which is incredibly rare to say, but the CPU went bad. And so I'm running on the streaming PC right now to be doing this. And it's been annoying. It's like, and like I've been like jonesing for some Marvel Rivals. I haven't played it in a week, and it's just ridiculous. And like this week is going to be Monster Hunter too. So like so I need to get back on it. I need to try to get it as much as I possibly can. So it's been challenging. Hopefully get it fixed today. The second we're done with this podcast, I'm going to beeline it to the place and get a new processor, test it out, and then see how it's going to be. But yeah, man, it's crazy. As for games though, I haven't really played anything because of this, because of my computer issues. Was there anything? Oh, no, because I was thinking Like a Dragon came out, but I haven't touched that yet.
Yeah. So, I totally forgot that came out. Like, I didn't realize it was coming out so soon either.
Oh, yeah. It's supposed to come out. Yeah, no, it was supposed to come out in February.
It was right on track. It just kind of like snuck up on me all of a sudden. I was like, I know there was a demo, it was like a week or two ago. I didn't realize all of a sudden it was like, and now here you go, so soon. So, but that's the way I like it too. Like if you're going to do something like that, make it pretty quick in succession. So it's fresh on people's minds. They've already got that itch. So why not then release it shortly after?
I totally agree. Yeah. I'm just glad that it's out. There's a lot of games that's coming out here in the next month or two. So man, there's just like, and then like right now, I don't know if you know this, but Sega is doing their closed beta for the Sonic Racing. And
yeah, that's right. It started the 21st yesterday.
Yeah, it started yesterday. And like I tried watching it, and man, there's just so much happening. I don't know. I can't keep up with it. I just can't keep up with
old.
it. It's so weird. It's like it's like flashing light. It's basically a Sonic game just on wheels, which is it's just chaotic. There's so much stuff. I was watching watching the stream on from what's the name? His name is C1, and there's just so much happening. Like there's rings coming out of nowhere. You're hearing the ring sounds. You're hearing the turbo. You're seeing the flashing lights. Like, dude, if you have if you are subjectable to seizures, you do not want to play this game, because this game is like insanely flashing lights and all this craziness that's happening. But my goodness, I don't even know. I was interested in checking this out. I am still kind of am, but man, I don't know. Maybe it's just the old man in me saying I just can't keep up. I don't know.
I feel you.
Yeah, so, but anyways, I know you don't want to talk about me chasing people off my lawn because of my old grumpiness. So let's go through the normal rigmarole that we like to do each and every week. So each of us chooses a topic or discussion in the world of video games. The topic would or could be a game itself or something that happened in the gaming industry, and we do not want to talk about it amongst ourselves. We want you, the listeners and viewers on Twitch and on YouTube, to be a part of the conversation. So if there is something that you want to chime in on whatever we talk about, by all means, type it inside the chat. We will discuss it with you directly and go from there. So, Smitty, what are you bringing to the table, my friend?
Yeah, like we said, I mean, this week there was a lot of news this week. One of the biggest ones to me, and this isn't even official, but it's sounding like, according to insiders and whatnot, like it's something that's going to happen. But Niantic, basically the developer of Pokemon Go, is in reported talks to sell over to Scopely for $3.5 billion. Now, you've probably heard of or played something from Scopely. I know I've played some mobile game from Scopely. Well, Scopely was actually purchased by Savvy Games in 2023 for $4.9 billion. So Savvy Games, we know, is the Saudi Arabia-backed video game company. And we know that here a few years back, Saudi Arabia announced that they are going to be basically investing, I think it was like $38 billion into the video game industry. And at the time, it was like, oh man, that's a lot of money, this and that. We are, over the last few years, we have seen now the ripple effects of even that announcement and what they've done. They've talked about wanting to buy bigger studios, more mainstream studios, investing in esports, all that stuff. What have we seen over there? We've seen basically the collapse of oh my gosh, who is it? You know what I'm talking about?
Like THQ Nordic and all that stuff, that group.
Yeah. I can't remember the parent company name, but they were banking on a big deal. It fell through and it absolutely devastated. They started laying off and selling off. Embracer Group. Yes, thank you. Had a huge impact. So number one, the impact in the gaming industry, they are throwing around their weight. In terms of with that money, we are just seeing people, basically it is making and breaking companies based on the decisions that Savvy Games and the Saudi Arabian government are doing. Obviously, there's a conundrum with this, right? They have ethical and human rights things that are very apparent. We saw it with the Live in terms of Live Golf. And, that being an issue because of these things that are not necessarily, and basically they're trying to, what they've dubbed it as sports washing, in terms of, hey, just forget about these terrible things that we're doing. And we're looking at these cool things that we're doing, which is great. But again, there's this back and forth in terms of it. Anyway, I mean, I digress. It's reported that they are in talks with Niantic to buy all of their gaming division, essentially. So Niantic wouldn't dissolve. Niantic actually has, there's a separate division. They do other things. So it wouldn't completely dissolve, but all of their games, which obviously their biggest one being Pokemon Go, but they tried some other things like, I know there was a Harry Potter one. Nothing has really caught on like Pokemon Go has caught on. So this is a huge move. I think I've seen a couple of reports. One was 3.5 billion, the other was 3.8. But we could get an official announcement about this as early as next week. So I just wanted to see what everybody's thoughts were. I feel like there's a ton of implications, not only on the Niantic side. I think, for me, it sounds like they are good on this, and they are ready to let go and move on and do other things. The price, obviously, that's a nice juicy price at 3.8 or 3.5 to 3.8 billion dollars. So I could totally see this being a thing. And then that's Savvy Games acquiring a big IP that they continue moving forward and generating stuff. I feel like the Saudi government is the only real, not the only one, but one of the most prominent political figures, I guess, that are really investing and looking at video games in the viable future and what they can do with it. So I just wanted to know what everybody's thoughts were, how they feel about this. Does this, if you do play Pokemon Go, what kind of implications could this have as well in terms of the game and its development? What are your guys' thoughts?
The development wise, I don't think developing is going to be a big issue comparatively, because I mean they're not gonna mess with the formula is one for in itself. I guess the biggest thing is like the fact that the amount of money that the Saudi Arabian government and companies that are coming from Saudi to going into gaming, because I think they did say that they were going to pump in at what $30-something billion back in 2020 into the gaming industry, so they can actually start getting things and promotions and stuff like that to start building up their own portfolio of different kinds of deals. It sucks in my opinion, because of the fact of Saudi that country is like with all the human rights violations, so many different human rights things, and then what they're doing is that they're putting their money into something that's like for recreational. Like I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but when I think about it, didn't the Saudi government also like put in a lot of money in like sporting events like boxing and stuff? And then
they got that. They got the esports Olympics. The first esports Olympics was in Saudi Arabia. So the esports awards was in Saudi Arabia. Like, they are tossing around a ton of money.
Yeah, so like what they're doing is that it feels like they're able to toss this money around, and then people have short-term memory, and what they're seeing is that they're seeing like these people are going to be like they're constantly doing this, and yet at the same time not changing their back views of like the human rights violations and stuff, and I feel like people are just going to it's going to be taking the back seat, which I think this is going to be it. Then on top of it, you have a company like Niantic, who they've been doing Pokemon Go for 10 years. They basically map the globe for you because of all the Pokemon Go players and stuff. It's like now you got now they'll have geolocation information. This is conspiracy hat Davis going on right here. But I'm just saying that like I don't like that's unsettling to me overall. For it, but money speaks louder than words. That's basically what it comes down to. It's like, so obviously, like if it could be any other country or any other government or of some sort, and then maybe I feel differently, but this one feels a little bit. I feel a little worried about it.
Could it be any other government though?
I mean, it really can't be any other government, but there's a caveat list, obviously, for any other government. But I'm just saying that, like, yeah, this like Saudi's definitely on that list, you know, of like the exceptions list, you know.
Well,
So
that's the scary part, is that we don't know what kind of influence some countries' governments have within this industry, because it could be, you know, and again, that's the lingering question, is that it could be being used as a way to gather intel and stuff like that. So, you know, I
dude,
don't
this
know if you're
information
too
is
far off.
yeah.
Yeah.
This information is like the information that Niantic has just on Pokemon Go players alone it should be incredibly privatized, you know. But like, I mean, like the fact that that kind of information is showing, like, you know, geolocation, and then you remember what they were wanting to do was that they were saying they were wanting players to start taking photos of the places that they were going to, because Niantic wanted to have a visual realistic map of the world itself. Like that kind of stuff, it just feels very, very scary to me. And then being introduced to the public as a video game, which is like it is scary. And then like anything, and all they need is just a company or a regime to be very nefarious, and then just turn it around and weaponize that information against you. And I just maybe it's just the fact I just don't trust Saudi Arabia and the Saudi Arabian government. Poppy Hendricks also has a good point here. He thinks that people turn a blind eye to it because the notion is Saudis are rich, but by the time everyone looks, they might have bought everything up. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is. But because like, I mean, because, and I may be naive. I don't know how it works, but I could have sworn that any kind of purchases, especially the big purchases like that from Saudi Arabia, is linked in some way to the king or the higher the government high up, or to the giant family that runs the country, right? Am I wrong? I mean, please tell me if I'm wrong, because I that's how I'm approaching all of this, because it's weird, because the amount of money that they're dishing out is not something that a private company could possibly do, is all I'm saying.
Right.
Unless it's like Disney or something that has that kind of FU money, or Apple or something like that. But like, unless it's something like unless it's like government owned or government funded in some sort of way, that's how they're being able to do this. And then they're doing this to also show off their, like, to make their image look better, you know. And
I believe we call it flexing.
Yeah, it's essentially it is.
That's what it is. And you're right. And here's the thing though, too, is that I don't feel like I know enough to I don't know. I know what I know that I've heard things, but I don't know. I haven't done enough research or looked into it enough to be like, oh yeah, this is a bad thing. I think it is a bad thing just because of the human rights stuff and what they're doing and how they're, you know. And again, too, this just shows, this is another example of, hey, you got a ton of money, you can make things just go away, or get people to look the other way because they want to get a hold of that money. You know what I mean? So it's scary. And the fact that nobody, like, how do you have a conversation and be like, well, you can't have TikTok? And where is Niantic? Where is Niantic based out of?
Washington State.
So the United States is involved in some, or could be in some form or fashion, right?
No.
If this were,
no, I mean, it's Niantic is its own company. I mean, it's not the United States isn't owned, like, because I mean, that's just how the capitalist we're a capitalist country, man. So it's basically whoever owned Niantic, and Niantic it's not Niantic that's being sold, it's Niantic's gaming division.
Yes.
So it's not even Niantic itself. So it's privately owned, but it's just that they made a product so good, like they made a ringer of Pokemon. And you know what? And who's to say, like, if, like, because of this, Nintendo could easily say we don't want a restricted.
That's the other thing.
Pokemon thing, you know,
it's like,
so
there's a whole licensing thing as well with Pokemon. So like, what? I don't know. It's real interesting. Again, nothing has officially been said,
Mhm.
but reports are leaning towards that this is something that could go down. Excuse me, as soon as next week.
Yeah, it's
So
very interesting. Everything the Saudis does never involves anyone else but Saudi Arabia. I know, right? And it's so interesting to me that that's what like that people are overlooking it. Maybe like, well, I mean, I just know for a fact that I would not. I'm not even risking it. I mean, I haven't touched Pokemon Go in like the. I mean, I only messed with Pokemon Go for the first year, and after that, I was done. But
I stopped once No Man's Sky came out.
oh, Nomansky, nice.
Yep.
Yeah, so like, but like now on top of it, just to say like, okay, we're gonna give this information because Savvy Games has it. I would absolutely not do it personally. I would absolutely not do it. If knowing that information, that's just my maybe just me being paranoid. But I'm not. I'd rather not take a chance at all for it. You know.
So let me ask you then,
Mhm.
do you feel that it would be worse than the TikTok situation? Couldn't they step in and say, whoa, 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 that is uh what do they call it? Government secrets or whatever?
Yeah, they could, but it's just that they
National
have.
security
Yeah,
risk.
yeah. They easily could, but the only reason why that this has even been being an issue is because of the hatred of China. They want, but I don't think that they're going to do that with Saudi because I mean, just look at the upper administration is
Right.
has really close ties with the Saudi government, the Saudi upper hand because they've given him money, so there's no way, yeah, so like they
These are the
could do it,
facts.
but they're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Because there's no reason. There's no. I mean, it's like, oh,
Which
you
in
give me.
itself, I feel like shows kind of the hypocrisy of it.
Oh yeah, like bar none, man. It's not even front facing about like, oh, this is what we're doing for the best interest of the country or whatever. It's more on the fact of just straight up greed and money, man. So
Yep.
yeah, I know. Well, it's unfortunate, but I just what makes it just pisses me off that like an article like this is just like that they're using the guise of a game of a popular game, and then just looking. There's just so many underlying issues about this that
Yeah.
makes you like wonder and worry about what do they expect, like what's their expectations if this does go through. So like but anyways, it's nothing that we can control, but and I just know that I will never play that game because of it. So,
Well, I
you know,
hope you also don't play The Walking Dead, Road to Survival, Stumble Guys, Marvel Strike Force, or Monopoly Go, because
yeah,
Scopely owns
owns
all
all that.
those.
Yeah, see, and Monopoly Go. Yeah, Monopoly Go I think it's the one that's really popular right now, right? Isn't
Yes,
it?
yes.
Yeah. So no,
I
you're
have
totally right.
played Monopoly Go and Marvel Strike Force.
And Marvel Strike Force.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. That is just wild, man.
Yeah. I was like, I've definitely seen Scopely before. Dude.
Yeah,
I had
Scopely's a
no
big
idea. I
company.
had no idea Savvy Games owned them. I had no
Yeah,
idea that went down.
I didn't know that. I didn't know the Savvy Games owned them either. I mean, well, apparently Savvy Games has only been in the market on mobile games for now. They were trying
Oh,
to get
okay.
they've been trying to get their hands in like remember when they tried with Embracer Group to kind of get it more into mainstream on like Steam
Yeah.
and all these other games, but it fell through. So
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going to stay. They're staying their lane in mobile, but I mean, but
Which is
then
smart
again,
because it
mobile,
generates money.
yeah, mobile gets a lot of money, so I can easily see
Mm-hmm.
that. That makes a lot of sense, but still, like, my God, yeah, it's crazy. So, so you already know the games I'm not
Well,
ever going to be
I'll be
playing.
following. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be following that story though, and keeping up with that. So I'll give you guys updates.
Yeah, it's okay. Sounds good, man. That sounds good. Um, okay, so my topic, and this is actually kind of interesting. So, Marvel Rivals is the big hit. Obviously, that I don't think it's debatedly the largest the best game that's been out of 2025 for right now. Well, not really come out 2025, but the most successful game of 2025 so far. Let's just say that. So and then they announced that the two new characters came out, Human Torch and the Thing came out. They're going to get their money and then some and stuff like that. So really awesome. But to everyone's surprise, Marvel Rivals, the Netties announced earlier this week that Marvel Rivals experienced layoffs, but not to the core team. The core team, because NetEase Games is based in China, so the core team is Chinese or in China. But they had like workers, like remote workers and stuff, and then the remote workers was an American side. They were on the American U.S. side, remotely in Washington. They got rid of their whole group like earlier this week. So out of no, and this came out of nowhere apparently. So this like was very very random. On the everyone was surprised because it is a smashing hit. The game is getting money. It's generating a lot of money for NetEase, and they decided to get rid of, I believe it was 7 people of the remote staff that were level developers for the game itself. So one of the one of the people, Steven Totilio, said that NetEase rep, no, that's not the right one. Okay, yeah, there we go. His name is Thaddeus Sessler. No, Thaddeus Sasser. There we go. He said this is such a weird industry. My stellar talented team just helped deliver an incredibly successful new franchise in Marvel Rivals for NetEase Games, and we were just laid off. It's like, oh well, times are tough all over. Let's find these incredible people new jobs because we all need to eat, right? And this is just heartbreaking, man. Like, I don't even understand. Like, no one understands what the hell happened in this case for it. NetEase did put a statement. They said that they recently made the difficult decision to adjust Marvel Rivals development team structure for organizational reasons and to optimize development efficiency for the game. This resulted in a reduction of a design teams based in Seattle that is part of a larger global design function in support of Marvel Rivals. We appreciate the hard work and dedication of those affected and will be treating them confidentially and respectfully with recognition for their individual contributions. So I'm a little bit in two ways here. First, I don't think this was a reactionary layoff. I think this was a planned layoff in the first place, given the situation of what it like how the team was structured. But at the same time, it's like the like I would have thought the way the process would have been a little bit further out than just 2 months later, the way this all went down, because it just seems like this came out of the blue, and it just seems like they were caught with their pants down. Seattle team got caught with their pants down on this, but this was it's still like a what the fuck moment in my opinion. It's like, what's the point of being successful in the game and then just knowing that your job is just dangling on the line, that they're just going to cut you off whenever, so anyways, I just want to get y'all's opinion, what your opinion is on this, Smitty, and how you felt when you heard about about this news.
Yeah, I saw a great meme, and it was like, build a game, it's not successful, get fired. Build a game, it's successful, get fired. Build a game, it's super successful, guess what? Get fired.
Yeah.
It's terrible. The industry is so volatile right now. And I'll tell you, initially, when I first heard the news, I went in with a very emotional response. I was like, what does a person have to do to keep their job in the industry? Like, what's the point? Why would anybody want to go and work on any kind of AAA title when this is what happens? Like, it is not, like, it is just, I couldn't recommend anybody, like, if it, like, to try to go into the game industry right now. It's so volatile. And like, these are like, it seems volatile now outside of the extra spending they did and whatnot. And we just continue to see the bleeding. But there's other things here at play after I settled down a bit and thought about it. We've got to think, especially when it comes to video games, we're now having to look into the political sphere as well, because it's having an impact on it. Where the tariffs, number one, that's going to drive prices, and we don't know what kind of form or fashion or what it's going to do, but we're going to start seeing these people preparing for this stuff because we don't know how things are going to shake out. You know what I mean? And then just government wise, how people are, going about doing things and whatnot. There's taxes and you have to deal with people, and especially with the volatility of President Trump towards China, I feel I think they're kind of preparing for the worst themselves. So they're just kind of saying, you know what, we're not going to deal with it. Let's get rid of the U.S. assets. And that way we don't have to worry about it. Our core team is here. Although I believe that dude was the game director.
He was.
Yeah. So, it's like, wow, that seems kind of crazy. They're getting rid of their game director. But again, according to them, their main team is in China at their main hub. So, it is what it is. So it's unfortunate, but I think that was a strategic move, like you said. I don't think it was based on any kind of performance metrics or anything like that. I think it was something that they were looking at the political landscape and they said, we're going to make this move, cut this headache out now and be done with it.
Yeah, I mean, like Poppy Hendricks also kind of pointed out too that he heard that it was specific dev team was always meant to be done with after the launch of the game, but I'm not sure how true it is. I mean, and I could see that if it was a temporary group, if it was if this was a planned layoff. But like, if it was a planned layoff, I don't know how someone would just would post like what Thaddeus posted, saying react that way. So like, I mean, just going by, I mean, we don't know what the overall plan is. We're the odd man out looking on the outside in. So, but from what I'm gathering, this was not something that they were expecting, and the way it went down. Now, to say that NetEase, because I mean, to be fair though, NetEase has been going, like, if you look at NetEase as a company, they have been downsizing in a way way before Marvel Rivals did, because I do remember what they did when Legacy of Mana or the new Mana game, when they shut down that studio the day when the game came out. Like, they shut the studio down when their game came out and stuff, because they're restructuring all of this. So I mean, I see the logic of what they're doing, and I definitely do it. It's just that, but I guess it's just a matter of the optics of, wow, this game is literally printing money for this company, and then they still feel like they needed to do it. It's like I don't think it would have won in any kind of way in this situation. It sucks, and I really do. And then my heart do feel go out to the folks that did just lose their job like the way that they did. But it's like, man, dude, it just shows you that you have that you just can't trust a company. Like, you flat out just you have to look out for yourself at this point.
I mean, again, these bigger corporate companies have turned into corporate, and you should treat it as such. I don't think the dream no longer is to want to go and work for these companies. Mm-hmm. I think these smaller studios, and I saw something the other day about double A games and stuff like that. And them, not flourishing and those studios dying out and whatnot. I think an independent path is the way to go and rebuild from there. These companies have become so big, they've turned into what gaming is not about.
Yeah. Essentially, you're right, because like, well, do you know what's actually kind of funny? So the guy who created It Takes Two, and A Way Out, Joseph, I forgot his name. Really, really eccentric guy, but has made banger hits of of his games with like It Takes Two, which, by the way, if you have not played it, play it. It's a really great game.
I just installed it on my PlayStation.
Oh yeah, dude.
It's in the thing, yeah.
Oh yeah, you definitely should. Yeah, play with the little one. And then their new game is coming out next month, Split Fiction, is going to be a good one too. But like, he was calling out the company that even publishes their game, because it doesn't even make sense, because like the way how studios are working, because like you heard about Dragon Age Veilguards did not reach their expectations on sales, right? Like they only reached halfway, 50% of what they were expecting, which was 1.5 million. They were expecting 3 million on the sales, but then EA came out and says that this game, that they were wanting that if Veilguard was a live service game, it would have been successful. And then I was I was like, what? Like, why would y'all say that? That doesn't even make any sense. Just on the metrics of what y'all have done and what y'all tried on live service games, Knockout City, freaking Anthem, all these different kinds of other games that you have in your graveyard, and yet you felt like that this would have done better in the sense is like it's kind of weird y'all are doubling down on this branch on the for live service, when yet y'all are just showing a graveyard of different games. Even y'all's game that is successful, Apex Legends, it's still like not like super banger. So what are y'all expecting? So Joseph called them out on it, and then there was like saying, like there's no way that this is true. And I totally agree with them. It's just like it's weird, because the expectations of the company does not show off the expectations of what the game itself is going to be. And like I said, you're right. It's unfortunate that the double A's don't exist anymore, because I remember double A's were huge in the PS2 era. But we just need to bring something like that back, so we stop debating with these big AAA companies, Ubisoft, EA, freaking all these big companies just trying to make these decisions because they're wanting to make the money. Don't get me wrong, making money is important, but at what cost? You know, like you're not going to make. Well,
it's become about that instead of making good games that people enjoy. The money will come if you make a good game.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But that's not the focus. The focus is how can I get as much money as quickly as possible, get that thing, and just how do we make the next Fortnite? Basically,
that's basically what it is. You're right. You're totally right. Yeah,
that's no innovation within that. It's just replication.
Yeah, it's so annoying to see that, like how hard these companies are trying to goon over all of that, because it's like that's what they're trying to do. It's like they're trying to replicate the success of one game one game which no one has really truly replicated. Maybe the closest, and keep in mind, Fortnite was an accident. It wasn't even like it was planned to be this way. Yeah, it was definitely not the plan. So
I had the game when it was just save the world.
Yeah, exactly. So, but everyone is trying to find the next Fortnite, and and that chase just destroys every other kind of game's level of credibility or creativity, because they were like, how are we going to get continuous income from this game instead of just making it a story-based game? Like, just how about not worrying about that? You don't need to be it doesn't need to be continuous income. It just needs to be a good game. People are going to buy it and then go from there. Don't get me wrong. Maybe the metrics of people returning to the games are going to be a lot different, because you have games like Fortnite or Roblox and all these different kinds of stuff. People are going to just stick to that. But it's quite prevalent that if you make a good game, people will buy it and then and go from there, So there you go. So I don't know, but yeah, I know we kind of went off of a weird tangent, but anyways, my heart is out to the folks that lost their jobs, and hopefully we'll see. Like I said, I'm not mad at what they're trying to do, because I do see the bigger picture on why they did it. It would have been a different story if they just did it to do it, So,
right.
So that would have been a little bit different, but I can understand why they did it and stuff. Could they have done it in a better way? Absolutely, but
the optics were terrible on it. Crafty says, I 100% agree, and why games from East are killing it now, because they're still focused on making good games. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
And you're seeing more of that, more games coming over here to the Americas, because they're good games. They're not, relying on a gimmick or anything. They're just making good games.
Yes, and that's what I really wish that that's why we're seeing so much bleeding over here, is just that because of the level of greed that was created. And it's not even over here. necessarily, because you remember Sony's original plan of releasing 11 different live game services. Isn't that ridiculous? Like, that clearly shows you what they're wanting. They killed like probably almost all of them. Like, the only one I think the only one that's still active is Marathon, right? And then like,
oh yeah, I was like, Marathon.
yeah, and I'm just like, oh yeah, it just shows you exactly where the level of greed is at
Bungie
itself.
or Destiny.
Oh well, yeah, but Destiny. I mean, come on, but Destiny's already kind of been integrated into this. It's been about, but I mean, I'm just saying it's not because it's just because Destiny's been around for 10 years. You know, I mean, there's nothing that you can do about that. But like, I'm just saying that. Yeah, it's just it sucks. And you know, next year, like, I forgot the name of that game, that one that's like, you know, that's like that's based in London, but it's like with like Knights of the Round Table kind of thing. Oh, you're playing as Gwendolyn.
Deliverance?
No. God, what was it called? Innocence.
It's a new game?
Yeah, they just released the trailer. Oh man, I cannot remember it. But anyways,
I don't know.
A lot of Chinese-based games are starting to come up, are coming up because of these cool stories and stuff like that. That's just knocks out the water. I can't wait to play, because I'm a story-driven based gamer. I love playing those kind of games, and then I love seeing the diversity when it comes to that. But none of this nonsense of like saying, oh, a live service game, let's just see how this is going to go, and then see if it's going to print money, and then it's just alive for like maybe 2 weeks, and then just shuts down, aka Concord. But anyway, Lost Souls aside, besides Lost Souls aside, that's a great. Different one. That's a different one, but yeah, that one is also a good one. A good one too. Hold on, I need to find this up. This is gonna bug me. Give me a minute.
Yeah, no. Meanwhile, we are trying to make the next Fortnite or GTA. Well, it's very much turned into like the movie industry. No one's, trying to do anything, or I shouldn't say no one. There's not a lot of big blockbuster movies that are different. They're all the same formula or superhero or whatever. And it's become very stale and monotonous. I feel
they don't
like
want to take a chance. They don't want to take a chance of like,
nobody wants to. Yeah, exactly. So you have to go the independent route, I feel, in order to be able to do that stuff. Otherwise, you're going to get stuck in the corporate world, and you know how that's going to play out. Just as soon as you're there, they will get rid of your ass, no problem. You know what I mean?
Tides of Annihilation. Yeah, Tides of Annihilation. That game looks like it's going to be slick. Yeah. So I just looking at it and then looking at the gameplay, that's going to be a good game. Is what I'm just saying. Like like that kind, like put the effort into that instead of worrying about the next Fortnite. You can't do that. That it's such an oversaturated market, and it's such a hard market to get into that y'all shouldn't even like you shouldn't even try to put your hedge your bets on trying to get into it. I mean, what's the problem?
You got to make a really good. Again, I feel like Marvel Rivals is a great example. I think you have to have a really strong IP, or just again, it's just a hard market, the hero shooter market, to get into. So many of them just outright fail. Whereas with the strength of the Marvel IP, like this actually and the moves that they made, they lined themselves up to be able to be successful. And a lot of people that are trying to emulate this stuff are like, we're going to do this formula with these random ass characters. Let's look at Concord, for example. And they completely boondoggle that. Like, they should have done that episode of Secret Level. And then into that, then launch the game. At least then I would have had some semblance of caring about these characters that I don't know about. Otherwise, you're just throwing random people at me. You've given me no reason to give a shit about them. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, Vegito says, people want that Fortnite money and act surprised when they see single player games being successful, or a game like Elden Ring do numbers. Yeah. They're like, again, they try to clown on it, I feel, and how can they look at the numbers?
I feel that I think it's annoying because people are comparing, like, I mean, maybe not people, but I think companies compare the amount of money that these games that make continuous amount of income, and they compare it to a single player story, and then they're trying to justify oh, this game only sold so and so, only sold like 1 million copies, but we're generating a lot of money on this one. But yet, when you really think about the companies, the games, and the companies that are successful in live game as a service, games as a service, they literally build they have to build a foundation to keep up with the level of maintenance, for it to go, for it to be successful. So like when you for instance, Multiverses, I think is one of the best prime examples of this, that they literally half-assed it. Because like the beginning of the production, the first time when it came in, it was a small team. When they did the beta, they realized that the game was not going to keep up with the demand of it. So then they had to remove the beta and then start from the ground, and then set up set up the game to a more stable environment, but with a bigger team that was not anticipated. Came back, they had to change the whole system from Unreal to the Epic Game Core system. I forgot which one it was called, and it was horrible because it was slower. It wasn't the same game. Because of it, and then it shut down because they were reacting to the demands of the game that they initially set itself into. Or look at how successful Helldivers 2 is. Firewalk Studios basically devoted their studio to Firewalk or to Helldivers,
Yeah.
So they literally had just said, hey, we need to do that. We need to do this to be successful on that with this game, and it crushes. It's a great game, so like you have to put more people have to put more thought in with these games of service. But like I said, those games are, besides Rivals, that's the only one I'm playing, but it's just so frustrating. Anyways, I digress.
Yeah, no, you're right. It is, and it's unfortunate that's
that's
where
the world
things
we live
are.
in.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Okay. So our final topic of today is more of a warning, not really a warning, but just a change of itself. So as you know, Twitch for the longest of time allowed you to save your highlights unlimitedly. Like you can make unlimited highlights on inside Twitch itself, and then so you don't have to worry about it to being ever removed. So they are actually changing their policy on that, and they're giving each streamer 100 hours of recording time for per account, and then anything that's over 100 hours it's going to be removed or deleted. I think you have till April 19th or April 20th or so for it to go down. Now, a lot of people are upset about this, but then when you really sit down and think about it, that's a lot of data. That's a lot of like images, videos, and stuff. Especially the amount of people that do stream on Twitch itself will to store all that, and it's not cheap. So I can easily understand why they're doing what they're doing. It's just a massive inconvenience. The downside about all this is that you can only there are scripts that allow you to export your library to YouTube, but it's not easily accessible, or you could just do it one by one depending on whatever your process is. But the biggest thing is that you just needing to find a way to get it under that 100 hours if you're wanting to save your stuff, and go from there. So I unfortunately have 250 hours. I was going to back it up, but I don't have my computer, so I'm going to have to wait until I get my computer back. But Smitty, how bad is this going to affect you?
It's not bad on my end. It looks like it's only 89 hours over. So yeah, I got it up on screen right now. That's what it looks like. You just go to the content tab and creator dashboard under video producer, and on the right hand side it'll show you your video storage. So I just need to figure out, again, and the other thing too to keep in mind, past broadcasts or your VODs and clips do not count against this storage limit. So this is just highlights and uploads. So, for me, it doesn't really affect me. I have seen bigger and streamers and people that have streamed for a lot longer, like the hit is huge. They're like thousands of hours over the limit and whatnot. So To have a blanket, I think it's a little unfair to, I mean, it's not a huge deal. You just have to do a better job of curating, basically. And I get it. That storage is going to, equate to them saving money, I imagine. So it makes sense for them to have a limit. Think about the number of users. And I imagine a bunch of people don't have it filled up, but then there's other people that are way over the limit. So I get it. I understand. Is it inconvenient? Absolutely. But like Davis was saying, there's scripts out there and whatnot. So we can easily get that stuff, and then you can repurpose it on other sites. So it's not a like, oh, the sky is falling down, like some people have reacted.
Well, I mean, they should have at least, I mean, like, if they knew that this is, I mean, they knew this is not something that they just decided over in the morning. Like, you would have thought that they would be like some sort of tools or something that they should be able to provide, knowing that.
Have they ever done that though? If all the changes, they have never provided us with tools to make the process and change easier. It has always been somebody else creating a tool. Hey guys, I made this tool to make this easier.
Yeah, that is true. That's a good point. It's just, that's so annoying. It's just so annoying that you have to deal with all of this, So like, it's no, but I understand. It's so like, I mean, like I said, I'm not mad at it. The highlights itself, the only thing that kind of that it kind of makes me go back into is like you're actually looking into a time machine of what you have stored in there.
Yeah.
and like some of the stuff that I have was like stuff that I just started streaming. I just started streaming. I was like, oh my God, this is terrible. But it's funny though. But some of the stuff I have is oddly enough, there's some old, like our first episodes of CFG Game Cast. There's some of the stuff I saved on there.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
You got to keep that. Make sure that stuff lives on.
No, that needs to be destroyed in the fire.
Like, destroy it in the fire.
Those were terrible. Those were terrible. It was so weird to see it. It's like, oh my God. It's so weird. It's like, but then also there was some of the Let's Plays that I played, like Indivisible. Indivisible was a fun one, but then Chrono Trigger and Last of Us Part 2. The when we did the spoiler cast for Last of Us. That was that was so great. Yeah. So many memories. But yeah, so guys, like I said, just be careful. Just make sure if you're wanting to save it, you can save it. You could download your save and then move it over to a hard drive or export it to your YouTube account, and so you don't lose your a timeline of different kinds of things. So go from there, guys. So there you go.
Yep.
But anyways, folks, thank you for listening to episode number 352 of the CFG Game Cast. Thank you for being a part of the conversation as always. We will be back again next week with a whole new set of different kinds of topics. But if you did miss out on this episode, that is perfectly all right. We release at the beginning of each and every Monday of each week. So there is absolutely no reason to miss out on our sexy voices.
Ooh.
Guys, also be sure to check out our website, confreaksandgeeks.com, to check out the awesome content that we have over there. But and once again, this is Davis and Smitty signing out. Y'all, take it easy.
Bye.